the Dilly with Willy.
Well, welcome to another edition of the Dilly with Willy. Anyway, here we have a 1911 Everett, and looking at this open car at the time, if you were going out on a picnic or an outing of some kind, the ladies would wear this. I don't know why or how, but Miss Connie will fill you in on that. Connie?
Be happy to. One of the reasons women would be comfortable wearing something like this into the woods or in the grass or at a tea party is because they were washable in spite of how white they were, and that was one of the characteristics of this particular dress. It's called a lingerie dress, and it's called a lingerie dress because it's a dress where they actually brought the undergarment to the front. And it was almost always made out of a thin white cotton. So it could be a voile, it could be batista, it could be organdy or lawn. And it had the characteristics of what one would find in petticoats, camisoles. So if we lift this dress up, you can see that there's eyelet going on and there's ruffling and the slip. And if you look at the dress, you'll see the use of lace and pintucks, another tiny, small, much more delicate lace insertion. And this was very common to these dresses, and this is what you would have seen in the underclothing as well. This is another dress, and it features not just lace, but it also features eyelets. These dresses were worn by young girls, often for graduation, as well as going to parties in the afternoon. They could even be worn for weddings for older women, and they were popular kind of across all age groups. A dress over here that I want to show you, this is another probably worn by a more mature woman, and actually she's being worn on one of our wax mannequins from the 1920s. It's a stunning French mannequin. Again, you can see these dresses were made for warm weather, but this dress happened to come with an underskirt that looks like this, with ruffles, and again, pin tucking, and then a petticoat. And the petticoat has Van Dyke points. It's just a lovely cotton petticoat. So I think she might have been warmer than you might have suspected a dress like this would be. These dresses, as I said, were all white, but sometimes when you had dresses that had the eyelet features and all the lace, if they wanted to add color, they would add a pastel color. It would be either in the underdress or it would be in a slip that they wore underneath it. But that would be about the only, concession to color that you'd see. This dress is really important, and I'm happy to feature it because it really demonstrates the sort of democratization of a piece of clothing. Wealthy women could have it, and people who are not wealthy, lower middle class women could have it. They could wash them, and they required nothing special but maybe bluing and bleach. They didn't need special equipment of any sort. The suffragettes adopted this particular dress, I think for a number of reasons. The white represented purity. It also was a way of bringing in the feminine element to what a lot of men viewed as a threatening situation. And finally, it acted as men wore very dark suits. And so these were very light in contrast. And I think you couple all of that to the fact that women across all economic stratas could have a dress like this, made it even more important when women were trying to gain some rights that they didn't have. And finally, for the woman in the US, these dresses were made of cotton, and cotton was a readily accessible fiber in the US. It was an important export, so it was linked to the American economy, and as a result to American pride. So for any number of reasons, this is a very important and I think lovely dress.
And that's the Dilly with Willy. Visit the Fountainhead Antique Auto Museum featuring historic cars and fashion. Quite simply, second to none.